Де нам зайняти позицію?
Давай, давай, давай!
Замена! Так, мене.
In a dramatic escalation of fighting on the Eastern Front, Ukrainian forces from the Azov Brigade engaged and eliminated a Russian squad during an intense firefight while advancing to secure a contested village. Military sources reported.
Ззаді, ззаді.
Дивіться, як я роблю.
The clash unfolded in the early hours of the morning as Ukrainian units pushed forward under the cover of artillery support. According to preliminary reports, the Azov Brigade encountered entrenched Russian troops positioned along the outskirts of the Fiver settlement, triggering a close-quarters battle that lasted several hours.
Є контакт! Коли готові, ви стріляєте, і вони убігають.
Witness accounts from the front line describe a chaotic and high-intensity engagement, marked by heavy gunfire, grenade exchanges, and tactical maneuvering through damaged buildings and narrow streets. Ukrainian fighters reportedly used coordinated flanking tactics to outmaneuver the Russian squad, cutting off their retreat routes before neutralizing the position.
Давай, давай, давай!
Military officials stated that the operation was part of a broader effort to reclaim strategically significant territory.
Замена!
The village, though small, is believed to serve as a key logistical node for supply routes in the region. Its capture could disrupt Russian troop movements and strengthen Ukraine's defensive line.
Я готов.
Давай, давай! Перевозі більше нема.
Давай вісніше, сюди, сюди, в бік, вліво.
Footage released by Ukrainian sources appears to show elements of the firefight, including drone surveillance clips and ground-level combat recordings. While the authenticity of all visuals has not been independently verified, analysts note that such engagements highlight the increasingly localized and brutal nature of the conflict. Ukrainian commanders praised the Azov Brigade for their discipline and effectiveness under fire, emphasizing their role in maintaining momentum in ongoing counteroffensive operations. Meanwhile, there has been no immediate official response from Russian authorities regarding the reported losses. As the conflict continues, battles like this underscore the grinding, street-by-street nature of the war, where small territorial gains often come at significant cost. Observers warn that despite tactical victories, the broader situation remains fluid and highly volatile. After a brief decline in attacks, the enemy is regrouping and preparing forces to continue the spring-summer campaign. Despite heavy losses, the Russian army continues its pressure on the front and is not abandoning new offensive attempts. Following a brief decrease in the number of attacks, the enemy is regrouping and preparing forces to continue the spring-summer campaign. According to the expert, such preparations are already visible across the entire front line. He explained where the Russians maintain the highest activity and why it is currently too early to speak of a loss in their offensive potential. Russian activity currently remains concentrated in the same sectors that were previously the hottest. The Pokrovsk direction and Kostiantynivka area continue to see the heaviest fighting. The Huliaipol direction remains another primary target for attacks. And there were also enemy attempts to push in the northern Seversk sector, specifically in the Sumy region, but those were limited to a few combat engagements. Notably, during the so-called Easter truce, Russian attacks did not cease and combat intensity did not drop. During this time, the Russians brought up equipment, regrouped forces, and replenished personnel. Since the announcement of the ceasefire, they have violated agreements 10,721 times and conducted 119 assaults. Timochko notes that the character of the war has not changed. During the Easter truce, only the number of attacks decreased, but not their intensity or the scale of pressure across the entire front line. A regrouping and preparation of enemy forces is currently observed along the entire front line to continue this spring-summer campaign, he emphasized. In early March, the Russians already attempted to break through Ukrainian defenses, but that attack stalled. Now, they are preparing for new attempts and trying to utilize every remaining resource. It is premature to speak of a loss of offensive potential because even without a serious advantage on the battlefield, the enemy continues to push and throw forces into battle. If at least a few more such attempts to escalate end in failure with massive losses, then we can truly say the Russian army is beginning to lose its offensive potential, the military observer said. As of today, the Russian army lacks total superiority, but is attempting to use every resource at its disposal. Consequently, Ukrainian fighters are forced to hold back this onslaught under extremely difficult and dangerous conditions. There is no other option, because wherever the enemy manages to advance, they bring not just assaults, but murder and destruction. Ukraine's defense ministry said on Wednesday it was introducing a new model of operations, integrating drone warfare with infantry activity, and pointed to successes announced by its top commander in retaking territory from Russian forces in the south of the country. Top Commander Oleksandr Syrsky said Kyiv's forces had regained control of nearly 50 SQ/km, 19 SQ miles of its territory from Russia in March, building on its gains since the start of the year. Drones have assumed a prominent role in the 4-year-old war pitting Kyiv against Moscow. Both sides have also devoted resources to developing ways to intercept drones and upgrade air defenses. A new model of warfare is being introduced, drone assault units that combine aerial and ground unmanned systems with infantry into a single integrated system, the Defense Ministry said in a brief statement on Telegram. This approach has already produced results in the south, where since February, a large area of territory has been liberated, precisely thanks to the use of these advanced units. Syrsky made his assessment of recaptured territory in a separate statement on Telegram. He also said that amid improved spring weather, Russian forces had stepped up offensive operations along almost the entire 1,200 kilometers, 775-mile front line. Syrsky said the area around the embattled eastern city of Pokrovsk, which Russia has been trying to capture fully since mid-2024, was among the most intense places of fighting in March. He also singled out the Oleksandrivka, Kostiantinivka, and Lyman sectors in the southeast and east as the hottest spots during the month. Ukrainian counterattacks in the southeast were helping to disrupt Russian efforts around Pokrovsk and the Russian spring offensive overall, military analysts have said. Syrsky said last week that Ukraine has regained control of 480 square kilometers of territory since late January, and President Volodymyr Zelensky this month described the frontline situation as the best for Ukraine since the middle of last. Russian forces are engaged in a slow-moving advance across eastern Donetsk region, frequently announcing the capture of new villages. The Russian Defense Ministry on Wednesday announced it had taken the settlement of Vovchansky Khutori in northeastern Kharkiv region. Russia's military says it is also trying to establish buffer zones in the border regions of Kharkiv and Sumy. In his comments on Telegram, Syrskyi said Ukrainian forces were seeking to reduce Russia's offensive capabilities by keeping up a high pace of strikes on military, defense, industrial, and other facilities.
Хай роз'єбують нахуй ту хуйню, блядь. Сука, не дає пройти, блядь, вообще, блядь. Лінія, блядь! Ми там подивитись, бо там часто. Він нас розстріляє нахуй.
Я понимаю. Там відкритий, да?
Да.
Пизда.
Ми не можемо продвинутись, бо ми, блядь, сука, стоїмо нахуй. Ми тільки підлазимо, він, блядь, хуярить. Я, блядь, як у кухну лінію заскочу, я того кулеметика головними руками нахуй задушу, блядь.
Плохой! Повольно!
А не похую, блядь. Це чаєчка нахуй, блядь.
Ну на пивка, пожалуйста, блядь. Нет, серьезно. Просто, блядь.